Good morning. Good good morning. Hi. Sometimes you have to go down to the bottom of the hill before you can get up. And that going downhill is harder than going uphill. These were the words that I've just been exposed to by a 2 hour process by the good people of Simon Sinek that I wanted to share with you fresh as I've come out. My name is Valerie Ling. I'm a clinical psychologist, and for the longest time, I've been talking about how do you expand yourself and your energy and your resources so that you give more, you serve more, you love more, you live more, and you leave a legacy behind, right? So I don't mind sharing with you that I signed up for Simon Sinek's process and finished my first 2 hour session. Highly, highly recommended. Head over to simonsinekmustbe.com and have a look at the packages that they have. It's fantastic. I read Simon's books. I've watched him on TED Talks. But the thing that really made me sign up for this was during COVID. I just watched the way that he authentically led his team and allowed us in to see how much he could acknowledge these are really difficult times, but we do it best and we do it together as a team. And when I saw Simon do that with his team, I decided that, well, if I'm going to discover my why or refine my why, then who best to go to than the person that wrote the book on it? And so I finished that. Now, so these were the words. It's easier to go downhill than it is to go uphill. How is that even possible? My mind was blown. I didn't know how to make sense of that because when I'm trying to run, attempting to run, I love the downhills. Man, I'm feeling fast. I'm feeling like I'm breathing when I can run downhill. And it's like if all my runs were downhill, I would believe I could run a marathon. But here's the thing, there's all these uphills, right? So I just couldn't understand how going downhill was easier than going uphill. And here is what I was blown my mind. So what it means is that when you're just being reactive and you're starting to do things because it's the right thing to do, it's what you've always done, and you're starting to figure out why am I doing this? You actually had to go all the way down, back to your initial stories. Sometimes they're hard stories to think about. Think about the formative experiences you've had, the formative memories that you have, and do the work of really allowing yourself to say that, well, maybe what I am doing right now is not really grounded in my why and my purpose. And that is scary, right? So going downhill is easier than going uphill. Uphill, I guess, in this case, is the doing bit, the bustle and the hustle. Um, so it was mind blowing. The 2 hours that I've just spent was mind blowing because essentially what I realized is that a lot of my what's and the hows of what I've been doing has really come from habit and starting to become out of an expectation of what other people seem to think that I do. And yet it's not. When I went through this process of going downhill, and the process is basically, just digging through the stories of your life, just going through and talking about the things that basically you can't help. If you're not doing this, if you're not being this, if you're not saying this, if you're not thinking this, you are not you. And one of the things I discovered today is that it's really scary to let go of these preconceptions that this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you do. And then the exhilaration when you realize that the work part is so tiny, or the doing part is so tiny. The story that I would love to share with you out of one of the experiences that I had was, basically it came down to the world without burnout is a mission that I have. It is not the only mission. I have a dog. He is a cavoodle. Teddy is a cavoodle who we all have different relationships with Teddy. The children obviously absolutely adore him. He's like a living, breathing teddy bear that never grows up. He's 7 years old and he still looks like a puppy. Um, Teddy was a 9-month old puppy that we found on Gumtree. right? The vision for Teddy was that we were sitting down and together, and we were looking at the years ahead. At that point in time, our kids were still in primary school, and we looked and we said, what would our son, what does he need to thrive? And then we looked at our daughter, and what does she need to thrive? And somehow, in the midst of all of that, a dog became a possibility. For the both of them, there are things that they share together as siblings, though they are very different, chalk and cheese, that having an animal to love and care for and protect, and relate to is, we just saw that as being, at the end of their childhood, these would be the memories that we would want them to have. And so, the vision of a family dog was born that day. And cavoodles, they're a hybrid of poodles and King Charles Cavaliers. Anyway, they're a hybrid. Basically, they are notoriously expensive. However, as allergies go, they're one of the best breeds to have. But at the time, they were costing something like $2,000 a dog, and I've been told now they've gone to five to $6,000 a dog. I also really wanted to welcome a dog in that wasn't, having a good life and bring them in, etc., etc., etc. Um, Nobody wants to give up a cavoodle. Everybody loves them, so they're very hard to find. But Teddy, I don't know what possessed me. I went on Gumtree, was on Gumtree. Uh, it was something like, I think, 8 p.m. one night. There he was. He wasn't looking particularly cute. Looked a little sad on the photo, and the owner saying, willing, money's not an issue. Just give us $500 for the dog, and we want to. And anyway, from 8 p.m. that night to 6 a.m. the next morning, there were these messages, well, maybe until about midnight, between the owner and myself. He wanted to make sure that we were a good family and things like that, etc., etc., etc. I drive all the way over the other side of Sydney with my children. They meet Teddy, and of course, big mistake. Don't bring your children to meet a dog that you're not sure that you're going to get just yet. It doesn't work. You can't say no at the point. My spidey senses when we met Teddy was, oh my goodness, he is like totally energetic and all over the place and disorganized, and probably has canine ADHD. But there was no way my children were going to let go of that dog now that they had a taste of him. So we took Teddy home. uh, where I'm going with this is that, my work life is about psychology, mental health, and burnout. But that really doesn't dig into the underlying why. My why, one of the things that really, really is meaningful, is to create a better life, create a better way, think of new ways and new possibilities and new solutions. And when I was going through this process with my coach this morning, I realized that even with Teddy, our cavoodle, that's how I think of him, as a I'm not quite yet there to say that he's like my kids, no. But he is a creature that has come from a wounded past, had nowhere else to go. And the realities and the possibilities for Teddy, um, in my home, I think of him as well. I do. I do. I think of him. I think of, it's not tricks for me when we're training Teddy. It's Teddy's going to discover a new way of being. Right? Teddy is going to discover, like, he can do all these things. He's not just a dog, right? He can faithfully contribute. Like I'm always saying, if I could just train him to take like the laundry out of the washing machine, Teddy would find purpose in his life. And we would all be like, yeah, Teddy, you're part of the team. You have taken your place to contribute to society and our life. And I'm like, if I could just, kind of get him to do that, to that. Well, anyway, Teddy's best purpose at the moment is he's better than our doorbell, because he goes absolutely berserk when the doorbell goes. So sometimes we have to go downhill and let go of even our own preconceptions about ourselves, to see that, there are some things about what provides us meaning and inspiration and who we are may not be who we think we are, and maybe because we've been hearing what other people think we are. So I don't have a commission for this, but Simon Sinek, I'm assuming.com seems like the logical thing to have. Has got a bunch of webinars. Some of them are free, some of them are pay what you can. There's obviously the books and things like that. But it could be a really great thing for you to do. And at the end of the process, I kind of said to my coach, like, wow, this was, if you're going to have a midlife crisis, you might as well pay money for this than buy a motorbike. Not that I'm going to buy a motorbike. I don't really know what the female version is. Well, actually, that's a bit silly. Like, there's no reason why a woman couldn't buy a motorbike. I did buy a whole car when I turned 40. So, this was a much better way to deal with a midlife existential, not crisis, but question. Know your why. Don't hold on to what it seems to be right now. Brilliant. I've got to go now. Have a wonderful day.